Thank you so much to Serena for creating this Preppin data challenge for us. So we've got two inputs to start us off. We've got our population and our country size. So let's take a look at our population here. So we've got all of our country names and the years that their population were recorded in. So if we just take a look back at this population data set, we've removed some of the fields, so deselected them here, the country code, indicator name and indicator code. So we're just left with the years and the country names. So we do need to clean up those country names a little bit first. So we're going to trim the spaces from there. So if you look in this input step here, this clean step here, then you can see that we've got a country at the top that doesn't start with the letter A. We can tell that means that it's probably got some white space before it. So if we just go to the menu here and say clean and trim spaces, then that will mean that now when we go to the next step, we have got just Afghanistan at the top, which makes more sense when it's listed alphabetically. Then we're going to sort out all these years, so at the moment they are separate fields. It's better if they are individual rows in Tableau Desktop to work with, so let's pivot those dates down. Now, one thing to remember is that rather than having to drag across all the 62 years, where we have all the fields here, when they're over here, we can use the shift key to our advantage. So select the top year, which would be 1960, hold down shift, select the bottom year, which would be 2021, and that should highlight all the years in between. And then we can drag them over there, just to save you having to do 62 individual drag and drops. And then for our country names, we're still not done cleaning those up. We actually want to change them to have a country data role. So in the data type here, if we go down to the data role of country region, of geographic, and then select country region, then that enables us to identify which ones are currently not being recognized as countries or regions. And then in our recommendations there as well, we have a group values option where it's going to replace the names that we have in our data set at the moment with recognized country region names. So you can see that in the first example it's giving us, it takes away all the punctuation. In the second example, it actually adds an accent, but it just means that hopefully when we're joining these two data sets together, we'll get some more matches from that. So we select this option, and now this is our resulting data set. So we have the 266 countries and 62 years where we have population values for them. Now let's deal with our country size. So we've removed a few fields again, so removed the rank and the totals, etc. and so forth, and we're just looking at the land because people can't live not on land. So that's why we've done that. We're going to clean up the land in kilometers squared first of all, so you can see that we've got the miles squared as well in brackets, so we're going to split those values off. So if we go to our split values option, we can do an automatic split probably. And that would work out. So let's go and see what that generates. So we've got these two fields that get generated here, the kilometers squared and the miles squared. So if I click there, then you can see that they line up like that. So we only actually want to keep this field and remove the other two fields and just rename it. And then just change the data type to numeric. And then we can see that there are some countries that didn't have it listed, the land in square kilometers, but that's okay. Okay, now let's focus on cleaning up the country/dependency field. You'll notice values like Canada, for example, have this square bracket next to them. Others have a open bracket next to them. So we want to basically get rid of anything that is in those brackets so that they can better match up to the other data set. So we're going to do some splitting for that, trimming some spaces, doing that split again. Oh, sorry. Clicking here, so we've done that split on a open bracket. We've also done a split on an open square bracket, and we're left with these values here now. So if I find, for example, that Canada value, then hopefully it doesn't have the square bracket next to it anymore. There we go. That's much more recognizable as Canada. Lovely. So we're just removing any of those unnecessary fields and renaming that now. And then in our next step, we're doing the same kind of steps that we did here, where we use the geographic role of country region again, and grouping those values so that hopefully some of them stand out a little bit better. So one other thing that we did here as well is that we grouped together the Channel Islands. So these are Jersey and Guernsey, as it's specified in the challenge, so that they link up better with the other dataset. I can't remember if there are any other changes that we made in this data set. Let's just go see. Okay, apparently that happens as well. Apparently they're the same country according to Tableau's database. So, fine. So now that we've got those additional joined together, we actually want to sum those together. So group by all those country names and then sum the land size. So that Jersey and Guernsey, for example, we have a total land size for them. Okay, then we're joining together on the country names. We can see that we do still have these 36 records excluded. So they're just not present in the other data set, which is fair enough. And then we're just going ahead and excluding the world once we've done that as well, because we don't want the world to be counted as a separate country. Okay, now that we've done all that, we can work out the population density, so the population divided by the land in kilometres squared. We can then introduce some parameters. So we have a parameter for selecting the first year and a parameter for selecting the second year. These are both just numeric fields that we're giving a list value to. I just did a few as an option here rather than writing every single of the 62 different years in the data set. And we've got 2000 and 2021 there. So we are setting up a filter where we're saying that the year is either equal to the second year or the year is equal to the first year. So now we've just got 2021 and 2000 left in our year field. The reason that we did it this way is so that we can dynamically rename our fields once we do this pivot here. So we pivot our data using the year as the new headings and the population density as the rows, and then we use the dynamic rename option here to add a prefix of population density to those two fields and not to the country name field. Okay, cool. And then all that we need to do now is get to our first output. So we're going to do a ranking. So we're getting rid of the population density for the year 2000 there, and we are just doing a quick rank on that population density in descending order, so there's numbers. Number 1 is the highest population density, and then we're filtering so that we only have the top 10 remaining. Okay, so that's the first output, and the second output we're looking for which countries have had the most change in their population density. So we're creating a calculator field to calculate the change in population density. So we're multiplying that by 100, and we're saying the population density in 2021 minus the population density in 2000 divided by the population density in the year 2000. And then we want to see which ones have had the biggest change. So again, we're doing a ranking based on that percentage change, and we're filtering to the top 10. And that is all that we need to do for this challenge. So hopefully you enjoyed this challenge, hopefully you found it fun, and thanks again to Serena.